2016 ushered in amidst seasonal merrymaking and lively celebration, but behind the fun and the glitter, the forces of darkness tirelessly devise their evil ends, which appropriately segues to the latest message from WA Parliamentary Representative for Moore, Mr Shane Love, that provoked instant outrage at his offensive assertion that the Standing Committee on Environment and Public Affairs report into fracking was anything but a contemptible whitewash. It's an indecently blatant case of sugarcoating the most maliciously destructive industry in all of history. No amount of slippery political doublespeak can disguise the proven ecocide that this corrupt, treasonous committee conceals and distorts. Endorsing the clear and present danger presented by fracking constitutes gross malfeasance of public office, duty of care neglect, and criminal breach of trust. Accordingly, committee personnel and associated government agencies are manifestly unfit for purpose. Mr Love and Associates may have persuaded themselves that unquestioning acceptance from corrupt government and fracking industry lies is tolerable, but the wider community has not. Instead, the public adhere to the demonstrable facts that are studiously ignored by the fracking industry shills of this seditious parliamentary committee. Any attempt to depict Mr Love and his cronies as authentic people's representatives is ludicrous, since all unfailingly support this evil industry in tyrannical defiance of public opposition and increasing community demands to cease and desist. They act in contemptuous disregard of the damning evidence that repeatedly and comprehensively exposes this devastating process. In contravention of public meeting rules and regulations, Mr Love and complicit Dandaragan Shire councillors said nothing when fracking industry personnel delivered false and misleading information declaring fugitive methane emissions do not occur and that fracking triggered earthquakes are a fabrication. These easily disproven lies represent one small aspect of the environmental wrecking ball that the organised crime of government are determined to unleash in spite of extensive public opposition and being resolutely denied social licence. This vile industry is emphatically refused social licence by the community majority, whereby it has no lawful right to proceed or pursue what are, subsequent to the absolute denial of social licence, illegal fracking operations. The ever-amassing body of condemnatory evidence, witness testimony and appalling case histories confirming the environmental destruction and the proven public health threats resulting from fracking is ignored by the government criminals seeking to inflict this evil. This is unforgivable. All the established evidence confirms that this genocidal process should immediately be banned and criminalised. Just look at the irreparable devastation of fracking-ravaged southern Queensland and everywhere else in the world where this evil sinks its poison fangs. In addition, all the nation's natural resources constitutionally belong to the people and not to the criminal corporations masquerading as government. This indisputable ownership includes all water reserves that the people absolutely refuse to allow being poisoned and turned into toxic radioactive industrial waste. In Western Australia, we have perilously limited water supplies, yet these precious reserves are being totally destroyed in staggeringly huge volume for a totally unnecessary product. The pure water that rightfully belongs to the people is irretrievably polluted into radioactive toxic industrial waste against the will and the strenuous opposition of the people. Most of the water for Titan shale gas production is used in the actual fracking process. The International Gas Union estimates about 11 million litres of water equivalent to 4 Olympic swimming pools is used for each and every frack in this obscene process. Water is a resource that the public have to pay for, yet the unconscionable gas mining vandals of Transurb use the equivalent of $80,000 of water per frack, and they get it for free, no charge whatsoever, and they turn it into radioactive toxic waste. This is grossly obscene and entirely unacceptable to any sane person. Yet, regrettably, most of the population simply pretend it's not happening. Well, it is. Not one aspect of this crime gang government has the invested authority, the lawful remit, or any official entitlement to defy the majority will of the people who point blank refuse permission for rapacious fracking operations. Once again, I repeat, this hated activity is resolutely denied social licence and flatly refused public permission to access publicly owned water reserves. Government and the people's so-called representatives have a statutory duty of care obligation that involves a clear responsibility to safeguard the electorate against exploitation and harm to the best of their ability, a mandate repeatedly ignored in the instance of fracking. This criminal neglect is exacerbated by professed unawareness of the eco-terrorism of geoengineering chemtrails that has yet to be addressed, in spite of the plethora of incontestable evidence and the volumes of documentary proof exposing this monstrous crime. Government continues an unrelenting criminal assault upon public health with the fraudulent claims that fluoride has benefits it clearly doesn't. The internationally established facts are that it's demonstrably harmful to human health and irreparably damaging to wildlife and the environment. Government insists on forcing lethal radiation pulsing smart meters onto the public in disregard of the known dangers and the established negative health impacts. The people don't want these snooping meters, but criminal government again ignores majority resolve, and like the socio-psychopathic gangsters that they attempt to unlawfully force them regardless. Toxic GMOs are yet another covert assault upon the public, plus there are countless other government-sponsored genocidal crimes against humanity, too numerous to mention. This unrelenting and ever-intensifying crime wave extends way beyond our shores and is inflicted upon the entire planet. The head of this multi-tentacled crime syndicate manifests in the private City of London banksters, also known as the Khazarian Mafia or Secret World Zionists. If you're watching this, then you most probably already know the main offenders. They comprise a Luciferian occult system of unimaginable evil, being the world's worst mass murderers and architects of never-ending war, manufactured want, illegal debt slavery, and much else besides. Evidence of institutionalized pedophilia is spilling out into the public arena in sickening profusion, demonstrating how deep and systemically entrenched their insidious influence actually is. For example, the unspeakable crimes of Jimmy Savile were widely known, dating right back to the 1950s, with many reported to the appropriate authorities only to be repeatedly covered up and stonewalled. In particular, victims of child abuse experience incredible difficulty having complaints properly investigated or acted upon with any degree of efficiency or authentic purpose. The corrupted system is tightly rigged to forever block investigation and deny justice. This group's satanic rituals incorporate child human sacrifice that often degenerates into cannibalism. But I won't elaborate on that dreadful aspect in this broadcast. For the moment, it's enough to understand that they function from a private central banking system that has diabolically entrapped the world into crippling debt slavery. They deploy unlimited financial resources to buy, bribe, and subsequently own elected officials and, in the shameful, long-standing case of Australia, all state and federal governments. Sectarian violence and endless wars are engineered for increased profit, population control, geopolitical power, and cheap access to natural resources. Major international drug trafficking, pedophilia, and sex slavery are employed to serve as basic income stream activities. The history of this Babylonian Talmudic Baal worshipping cult is well documented and becoming better understood, with ongoing exposures coming in from a rising tide of defecting whistleblowers. However, covering this complex subject is beyond the scope of this episode, but it requires this brief mention so as to alert the wider community to the fact that those responsible are known and will be taken down in the near future. How soon this might happen remains to be seen. Their villainous plan is to exponentially expand the international fiat money counterfeit operation until the point of collapse, whereupon they replace it with an electronic global monetary system. However, this meticulous plan, which has been centuries in the making, is now widely exposed and encountering steadily growing resistance. Defeating this powerful group will take time and dedication and considerable expertise, but the stage is set for the complete removal of their evil control. Soon we can expect to see an end to the US petrodollar, whereafter the plan to set up their own worldwide electronic banking system will most assuredly fail. Accordingly, it's only a matter of time before the gathering tsunami of public outrage comes crashing down upon these despicable criminals, whereafter life on Earth will be forever transformed. Well, let's hope that happens sooner rather than later. Thank you for watching.